cognitive dissonance that is so high and has to be to maintain white supremacy because it doesn't make sense. So we've been drinking the Kool-Aid so long that we can't see something as basic as white supremacy is inherently toxic to Black and brown people. It's by design. It's by design. The other side of white supremacy is anti-Blackness. They go hand in hand. So examples, so many. So making a kid sit down and raise their hand to access education. And then when they don't do that, they're punished for defiance. Looking at kids through a deficit mindset, calling kids English language learners instead of multilingual, calling kids minorities instead of the global majority or the people of color, right? There's always all these ways that we phrase these phrases that speak to a deficit mindset, don't recognize the strengths and the resilience of our people. The ways that we make kids do the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance was written by Francis Bellamy. Francis Bellamy was a racist, and they created the Pledge of Allegiance in honor of Christopher Columbus. He was a racist. These are all white supremacists, and it was created at a time when they were really xenophobic, and they were focused on who's a true American and who's not. And so this whole pledge was supposed to be like, we're the real white people, and making them do this little, it started, it had a Nazi salute too, up until World War II, and then they changed it to hand over your heart. So all of that is some white supremacist indoctrination that we make our kids, participate in, which is racist. There's so many ways that relying on the written word. So there's another one, right? So relying on the written word. So African traditions, a lot of traditions were oral, right? We tell you stories, we pass down traditions orally, but in Western society, or white society, it's all about the written word and how we make kids access everything through reading. I understand that reading's important, but some information, why do I have to read your stupid book? And, I have to decipher this information and try to understand it when I could just get it orally or some other way, right? Or also, if you didn't write it down, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I said. It doesn't matter what the teacher said. It doesn't matter what anybody said. If you didn't get that in writing, it doesn't matter. So the calendar that we have, taking 2 weeks off for Christmas, that's not, you don't get time off for Ramadan. You don't get time off for Lunar New Year. You don't get time off for, Jewish holidays. It's Christian holidays. It's the calendar fits middle-class white hours, right? That doesn't always work for communities of color, the hours that we have for school. So there's so many things that are white supremacist culture, and not only is it traumatizing for students, but it's traumatizing for families, because what happens too is like the parents don't want to show up because they were traumatized at school. So coming to school and dealing with white power, and you're going to talk down to me about my kid, you only want to call me when my kid's in trouble. I look on your walls and it's nothing but all these white supremacists. Like, I don't want to be here. This is toxic white space. So there's just what I hope to show schools is how all of these things that they think are benign or even helpful are actually toxic.